number one fan site for Impact Wrestling, TNAsylum.net, and Old School Dirty Heels Productions presents the TNA Asylum HeelCast.
Oh shit, the Rave's back up in this bitch. TNA HeelCast on TNAasylum.net, episode number 25. We are recording here Wednesday night, the night after TNA Impact of June 21st. As I said earlier, I'm your host, RAV Raven Effect. With me is good old brother underscore himself, TNA Dude.
Raven Effect, man, I gotta tell you, I am so excited to be a part of this 25th anniversary show for the HeelCast. I have been looking forward to this for months, brother.
Hello?
Yeah,
Dude.
what's up, man?
Brother underscore.
Yeah?
Dude, are you there?
I'm here, man.
I can't hear TNA Dude. I guess I'm gonna have to hang up the call. Oops. How clumsy of me.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, looks like Payback's a bitch now, isn't it, brother underscore? Now, with me here is someone who deserves to be on this show. The man who, as Aiden O'Shea said, has the girls crazy, but as Numero told you in response, he's got them all crazy. He drives the guys, the girls, the animals crazy. The man who sent the Reverend Slick to actually become a Reverend, the new Doctor of Style himself, Mr. GQ Numero 47. How you living?
Oh, well, what an introduction. Thank you. I got to say, I've been away from the show for a couple of weeks, and I missed out on FK9 and a broken Raven Effect. I missed out on a lot, so I think I have a lot of catching up to do.
You do, man. You know, the thing around town, HeelCast Nation loves Numero. The people love Numero. They're glad to have him back. We're glad to have you back. A lot better than that dickhead brother underscore. Now, here's brother underscore's replacement for the RAV here. Some of you may know him from Lethal Weapons 1 through 4, or if you're an It's Always Sunny fan, Lethal Weapons 1 through 6. The man driving Captain Murtaugh insane to where he becomes too old to do this shit all the time. I bring to you Griggs.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me.
Now, Griggs, a couple weeks back, TNA Dude, he kind of threw you in on the spot, and we popped that HeelCast cherry of yours. And then, you took my spot on the HeelCast Slammiversary wound up, which is fine. No hard feelings. You got that experience and kind of, made you a little bit of a veteran, I guess. But you're on here with Raven Effect today. You know what that means, right?
Oh, you're gonna bust my balls?
Yeah, even worse. I'm talking ass play. We're talking ass play today. Griggs, you gonna be able to handle this ass play?
I guess so. I'll try.
It's when you become a real HeelCaster, once you get that ass play going in. Wouldn't be the HeelCast without dicks and ass jokes, everyone. Come on, let's get it together. All right, guys. Now, let's go ahead and move on with Week 25 Impact Wrestling breakdown, news, stories, all of that good jazz that you get from the HeelCast here. However, before we proceed to give you what you need, I want to give a happy birthday to our very own HeelCast hottie. I'm kidding. Our very own HeelCast original member himself, member of the Old School Dirty Heels, Wake the Snake Stamina Chambers. His birthday is today, June 22nd, as we record this. Any birthday wishes
happy birthday,
here?
Wake.
Hey, happy birthday.
That's right, everyone. Wake today turned 65 years old. He can't be with us as he is too busy getting set up for Medicare, AARP discounts, having that senior dinner at 4 o'clock. He's having his dessert about 2 hours ago. So actually he's in bed right now. But ladies, still single, got those Medicare discounts and benefits right now. Good health plans to be with Wake. So women, if you see Wake all week, give the guy a lap dance. Still single out there, just unless you got that purple hair, leave him alone if you got that purple hair. Also, we want to say get well to our executive producer, Mr. Old School Heel as well. OSH cannot join us as he just had some surgery taken care of. He's doing better, resting up and feeling well. Just want to give him our best wishes. What about you, gentlemen?
Of course, original
definitely.
member. Best wishes and good luck. Well, feel well.
And Old School Heel is definitely not ready to mingle like Wake is on that website, everyone. He's also on blackpeoplemeet.com, as I gave him a good reference, and he's been on there. Still striking out like myself, but, Wake does better than me. And also, I want to give a special shout out to one of our HeelCast hotties of HeelCast Nation, our girl Nick. You may remember Nick as the girl that Aiden O'Shea told to get a name change. But Nick, she is a great person, a great listener, great TNA fan. She busted her knee. She was in the hospital last weekend. I told her I wanted to be sure to give her a shout out. She told me personally that listening to the HeelCast was what cheered her up in the hospital. And she also said that it had a lot of the other people in the hospital rolling around and having a good time and enjoying it, listening to it as well. Granted, they may have been doped up on some good pain meds, but hey, whatever works for us, right?
Absolutely. I've been in the hospital last year, so I know what it's like.
So get well, Nick. We're very happy to have you as a listener. Thank you for all your support. You guys, we are the HeelCast. We are launching, as always, on TNAasylum.net. That is home base for us. TNAasylum.net, the safe haven for TNA fans. It's the best fan community on the internet by far. On TNAasylum.net, as usual, we have our good friend, the president of the Robbie E for Champ 2016, president himself, FK9. His show, Straight Shooting, always on TNAasylum.net. Check it out. Our buddy FK9 always does great work. Been doing this for a long time, and it shows. He's a veteran, always has an entertaining show. And he also has a great plug for Raven Effect at the start, too. But you guys got your FK9 sweater vests on as we record this. Am I right?
I think mine's still in the mail.
Son of a bitch. We got to talk to that asshole TNA dude, but he wasn't on the phone. He's the one in charge of our merchandise warehouse. So, Numero, did you ever get yours?
Not too long ago, right?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Yeah, he was on here not too long ago. FK9.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Best sweater vest out there. Beats James Vanderbeek's sweater vest from Dawson's Creek, though. Now, also at TNAasylum.net, one of the great things, and this is how Nevermore got started, as well as, Wake Chambers' wake-up call columns, is that if you're a TNA fan and you got something you want to say that you want to try and get your information published out there, members of the community can always do a fan column. We have a guest column up by Louis Mishi at TNA Asylum talking about how TNA's strength and best asset is their creative team right now, which is definitely worth a read. Very good stuff. Thank you for your contribution over there. Also, I'm always behind on my deadline, and it is killing me, but look out within the next week to 10 days for my latest fantasy booking column on TNAasylum.net, which will be Nevermore. I will announce it on my Twitter page when it is up. Basically, I've got 4 shows to cover and Slammiversary, and then I got to start getting the creative juices going again. But please, everyone, give me some feedback when it posts. I'd love to hear your feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Also, the HeelCast itself, we are now available on iTunes, everyone. Give it up for iTunes. How excited are you guys?
Ecstatic,
Hey,
man.
it helped us
Get
stand
subscribed
for
now.
more power to us.
Absolutely.
Don't forget Google Play.
And Google Play, too. SoundCloud. We've been on SoundCloud. Of course, TNAasylum.net. Of course, YouTube. But, it's the iTunes thing is something we've been trying to get on for a while. So now, when Numero, Griggs, and the RAV are in your girlfriend's Jeep, she'll be singing along like Do, Re, Mi. HeelCast, iTunes, everyone. I'm going to rip off Mickey Avalon all day long. So, we're going to go and move on to our featured comment of this past week. Griggs, let's break you in. Featured comment is on you.
All right, we got a comment here from Vidal of Valencia. Who would have known that Bennett on his own, with Maria by her side, could become a decent single wrestler? I did take some time to watch him in Ring of Honor, and some of his work in Japan. Looking back, he only seemed competent as a tag team guy, nothing more. I guess that's the purpose of being in a tag team. He had to make Adam Cole the centerpiece act, but still, his run in TNA at this moment has been solid, and I guess he can prove to be a main eventer. I have to agree. I mean, definitely, Mike Bennett is a main eventer. He's shown that in this, this week's episodes and the previous week's episodes. You guys you guys have to admit. Mike Bennett has taken the ball and he's running with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mike Bennett's a bona fide main eventer in TNA, and the thing about his Ring of Honor career is there's certain things that TNA and WWE allow wrestlers to do that you don't really get in Ring of Honor, and that's the reason why WWE can acknowledge Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor is not going to do the stuff that can at some point. I'm not saying TNA is even close to being competition for WWE, everyone, but they're the ones that can. But Ring of Honor doesn't allow Mike Bennett to go out and be Mike Bennett. You kind of see it with Bad Influence. Bad Influence in TNA was this phenomenal act. They're booked better in ROH, but they're not themselves and doing what made them so great. But Mike Bennett has surpassed what he did in Ring of Honor for all those years. He has surpassed that and more in 6 months with TNA. He is a superstar. He is a main eventer. And, you've seen Adam Cole and Matt Taven have both came out and said, we all knew Mike Bennett was a star. Someone just needed to give him that chance. TNA gave him that chance. We've got a superstar, and definitely I have no problem with the guy becoming the world champ.
Yeah, and it's a good point too. With or without Maria, he's still a star. Like he's greater than Mike. Maria's greater than Mike. With or without, he's definitely a star. He doesn't need Maria to to carry him or anything like that. He's definitely good on his own too.
I think we can. I was just gonna say, I think we can definitely already say that his feud with EC3 sort of classifies that, and really can be a contender for one of the feud of the years coming from TNA.
Absolutely, I think it is a feud of the year by far. So half year. I don't watch WWE, but all of WWE's feuds are literally written by someone word for word, and that's kind of why they stink. EC3 and Bennett went out there and just tore it down all year. Then I think EC3 and Bennett, and also Gail Kim and Maria, feud of the year so far in pro wrestling. I watch, I do watch ROH. I watched a little bit of LU before just throwing in the towel, but feud of the year for me so far.
Yeah, for me, what I really like about these feuds is that they don't really, circle around the title. And for me, that's what really invests me in the feud. Beyond the title, I think it's a little bit more challenging just because we know how title feuds kind of play out. So I give props to, both Mike and EC3 as well as Gail Kim and Maria, who haven't even had a match yet.
Absolutely. Very good points, everyone. As usual, it's the analysis you get here on the HeelCast. Now, we always talk about our TNA tweet of the week. And speaking of numero and speaking of Mike Bennett, our tweet of the week is from Mike Bennett himself, and, a little bittersweet for our buddy Numero. So, Numero, go ahead and let HeelCast Nation know what it was.
Oh, this was a unanimous vote. It was, of course, from Mike Bennett in response to Josh Matthews, call on commentary, how he was all solitude from Twitter because of Dixie's action towards his wife. And so the tweet of the week says, "Hey, real Josh Matthews, I didn't go silent on my Twitter. I just blocked you." And you know what? I love this tweet so much just because I know what it's like to be blocked from somebody who did nothing to you. So you know what? Props to Mike from all of us.
Someone that you did nothing to, just for some reason. At least I assume you're saying that's Josh Matthews, because Josh Matthews.
Yeah, he blocked me. I don't want to get into it, but he blocked me just because I politely corrected him on some statistics. So it was fun to see Mike, sort of throw that jab at him as well.
Exactly. Now, we have our sound off question of the week every single year, or every single week. Truthfully, every single year too, if you want to put it in that perspective. But every week we have our sound off question. Ask HeelCast Nation to respond to us, give us your feedback, answers on it. So HeelCast Nation, other than like the first 2 or 3 weeks, you have done us in the worst you have absolutely done this week and hardly gave us shit to work with. So I just want you all to know that the first 2 or 3 weeks we didn't have the sound off question, I believe. I could be wrong. But so the sound off question this week was, how do you feel about Gail Kim going into the TNA Hall of Fame in 2016? And to share your favorite Gail Kim moments, TNAasylum.net. We have our loyal listener, 1%er. Someone calling a dog, but 1%er said, "I don't think it was a right time for Gail Kim to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. In my opinion, people should only be inducted if they have already retired from wrestling." That's pretty much my same exact thoughts as well. one percenter. I would have honestly, I think Jeff Hardy is going to be gone, so to get him in because you don't know when the opportunity is going to come again, Jeff would have been my pick on the active roster. Our buddy Andrew Paul, good friend of all of us here, Andrew says, I believe it is the right time. She has stated that she was planning on retiring in the coming years, and he says naturally Gail's feud with Kong and Terran stand out. And I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Mr. GQ47 here to let him go ahead and take the Twitter response here.
Right. So over on Twitter, we had Joseph, who said he was so happy for Gail. Extremely well deserved. And I agree as well, just because, I think that they sort of hinted this throughout the years. We always knew that they wanted to throw a female. So, it's sort of poetic to sort of throw the first Knockouts champion as the first female inductee. I think she's more than qualified. She's won the Knockout title 5 times, 2 of which lasted, over 200-day reigns. We've seen her, sort of build a division. She is the division. And even outside the ring, she served, as a judge on British Boot Camp. We've seen on season 2 to sort of play as that mentor role. So, thank you, Gail, for, all the matches you've given us and, wrestle as long as you can. As a fan, I'm so happy and I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I think Gales definitely deserves it. I mean, I do see your point, Raven, about how they should be, retired before they get inducted to the Hall of Fame. But at the same point, has there anyone been retired that went into TNA Hall of Fame? So I think the ladies in the knockout division look up to Gail, and from the ones that are in there now and the ones that keep they keep hiring. I think everyone looks up to Gail, so I think it's a nice transition for her to be into the Hall of Fame this year, and it's nice to have a female in the Hall of Fame. I agree that Jeff Hardy probably should, be in the Hall of Fame too this year if this is going to be his last year, but we don't know that. Maybe he'll give us one more year. He's definitely putting his body on the line. So if he's still around physically to able to wrestle, so I'd like to have him back in Impact one more year.
Yeah, I'd love to have him back in too. And the only reason why I'm not really getting into this Gail Kim thing is because the past 2 weeks, anyone that's listened to the HeelCast knows my opinions on Gail going into the Hall of Fame. But literally, I feel Gail is the best female wrestler of all time, any division, any company. I'm extremely happy that she is in. She is well deserving. I just she's not one that I expect is going to be in the WWE in any time soon, to where like TNA wants to bring her in for the Hall of Fame and just physically can't. But the reason why I said that about Jeff Hardy, and we kind of have this brief discussion here, is I just want to educate the public in case. So literally the day before Slammiversary, and I know Griggs brought this up on the Slammiversary review that we did, but Jeff Hardy did an interview with Sports Illustrated, and basically he said that he wants to come back to the WWE. He wants to main event WrestleMania. He wants to do the Hell in a Cell match, and he wants to stand up outshine what Shane McMahon did in it. But I mean, the fucking day before Slammiversary, it just bothers me that the TNA wrestlers continue to do this. And I said this a few weeks back, and we focused on Gail Kim being the tweet of the week that week for when she said, I'm not going to go. You may see me back in WWE or NXT when John Cena turns heel. And I'll say this again. Why can the rest of the TNA Impact roster not just be like Gail Kim? That's the response that TNA, the company, and TNA fans want to hear, need to hear, and deserve to hear. So, I mean, Gail Kim is class act, absolute Hall of Famer. Thank you so much, Gail. Congratulations. It sucks that her night was kind of ruined by the broadcast issue, but Bound for Glory is a whole different thing. Now, guys, we're going to move on to the news of the week. This was quite a pretty good week for us as far as TNA fans. We didn't lose anyone. TNA survived the broadcast issue. The ratings weren't very good this week, but there's a +3 and a +7s, and that's what matters. But so we got, and one day we got the re-signings of Al Snow, my mom's favorite wrestler. We got Abyss, we got Rosemary, and DJ Z, all re-signed. That's three guys and one girl on one day that re-signed with TNA. The rumor is WWE is trying to go out and hunt down a lot of people to either bring into SmackDown or NXT because they got to split the roster. So it's literally a case of TNA resigning people at the right time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let Numero here. What are your thoughts on these resignings between the four we just mentioned here?
Well, it's like you said, at least we didn't lose anybody. I think, there's always that, Debbie Downer mood when we lose somebody better. I'm definitely glad to see DJZ the most, just because we heard there was sort of this possibility of him leaving in the summer. That I'm glad that he's sticking around. He's a talented guy, clearly, and I'm really digging his new, sort of solo look right now. Away from the bromance. I'm hoping that he can still shine in the X division as well, because he's sort of that foundation that we need. But I'm also super psyched to see Rosemary again. I think she's doing great things again. I think her being resigned, again, kind of came early just because we saw her debut this year. But we know she's sticking around, so hey, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree with you. DJZ definitely, with the Destination X just around the corner. It'd be nice to see him in some X Division matches. God only knows that we haven't had that many in a long time. We had one on this show, if you can call it that. But yeah, definitely excited for DJZ signing back with Impact. Abyss and Rosemary, they're playing such a adamant part into the TNA right now, with the decay. We definitely don't want to see any of them leave. There's building up that story, very well. Al Snow, with the Tribunal. I mean, he's just starting with the Tribunal. It'd be nice to see what goes from there. I'm glad he wasn't on the television this week with that damn whistle, but we'll see where it goes from there. I think they need a mouthpiece, and they're using someone they have in the back that to be that mouthpiece, and I think it's a good use of a talent that of Al Snow. I mean, he's 50 years old, but he still can go at it if he had to.
Yeah, and we've seen Al Snow go in the ring, and the best part about Al Snow is that he is literally, I mean, he's in phenomenal shape for literally anyone, but in his 50s, he's in the best shape of his life right now, which is good. You talk about the whistleblowing, and I don't know how many of our listeners watched ECW, the real ECW back in the days, but I mean, that's something Al Snow is a part of. The whistleblowing, that's literally Bill Alfonso, or Fonzie, as they called him. That was literally his gimmick to a T, annoying as shit, and that's exactly what Al Snow is doing. For Al Snow, obviously he's got the Al Snow Academy in England. He's the trainer. I believe he's the head agent in TNA. Still wrestles at times, the manager part and all that. I don't really want to get that far into it because really I don't know. But as far as Al Snow being the head agent, the thing that has been the worst about TNA over the past couple of years is that the wrestling quality has declined so much, and it's been under Al's guidance. And the thing is, there's a lot of things that you hear like, oh, a heel doesn't want to do these great moves that people are going to like to see because then it's going to turn them face and all that. And I mean, guys, look at Jesse Goddard's. What he's going out and doing is just, he's either extremely improved or he was held back just because he was playing the heel role. And if that's the case, it's just very bad. And, I think with Billy Gunn available, with a guy like Lance Storm out there may be better agents than Al Snow, but Al Snow is still a good hire. He brings a lot of value. I'm glad he's back. Abyss, I love the monster. He's definitely a guy that could be a Hall of Famer. He's one of the hottest acts in wrestling right now after his career was kind of really dying down. It's good to see him back. This will sound odd, I respect the hell out of the guy. He's an absolute legend, but I've never been a fan of The Undertaker, other than maybe like when he was doing the the Ministry of Darkness gimmick. Like, I've never been an Undertaker fan, although I respect the hell out of him. Like, I don't do the monster thing. Like, Kane never appealed to me, but Abyss was a guy that was like, he does this monster gimmick at its peak and its prime, and I actually loved it, and I thought it was really good. So Abyss is, he's a guy that stands out to me, and I'm glad to see he's loyal as hell to TNA, and in a lot of ways he is Mr. TNA. Definitely he should be one of the names that gets in next year. As far as the other two, which are huge, so DJZ, in my opinion, if it's not Goddard's, DJZ is the most improved guy in the company this year, and I think most TNA fans that are aware were kind of like biting their nails, like, okay, what's going to happen with DJZ? Because we all knew his contract was coming up. We all knew in January he said, I don't know that I'm coming back or not. DJZ has been fucking awesome all year long. He has been so good. His matches are exciting. He's always been a talented guy, and it's just like his gimmick kind of sucked or whatnot, but he is just doing the best stuff of his career overall. I am so glad that he is re-signed with TNA. The DK, one of the best acts there is. Rosemary is the main reason they are so good. I am glad we got Rosemary for the long haul. I worry, like, was she on a PPA deal kind of thing? Because if she was, how do you like if she was literally on a PPA deal, do you guys realize just how fucking lucky us as fans and TNA are that no one nabbed her? Because I find it hard to believe WWE, ROH, like Lucha, nobody would want to come and swipe this girl out if she was available. You guys agree?
Yeah, there's no way she was on a PPA deal. I mean, for how long they've been using her and how long she's been getting over, I would assume that they just upped her for like another year or two, just for how good she's been doing. I don't know. I can't believe that she'd be on a PPA deal and no one would snap her.
Yeah, she's been a real gem, and I think we saw that when she debuted it. There was all this talk about, oh, who is this woman? Who is this woman? So I think TNA knew what they were doing when they signed to her.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. She's definitely just fantastic. A bright spot to any company. I'm glad that Rosemary is back despite all the fucked up shit she did to me and to Wake and to TNA Dude when they came in and raised hell on us, but thank you very much. Now we move on from one knockout to a new knockout. Last night, news broke that Chelsea Green, who apparently was on Tough Enough, but we've seen her on One Night Only Live, and I believe she was on the Knockouts Knockdown this year. Chelsea Green is officially signed with TNA Impact Wrestling. Numero, you are a Knockouts guy. Let's hear your thoughts on it.
I am, and just to correct you, she wasn't on Knockouts Knockdown this year, but she was on Explosion with Jade, which was a pretty good match if anybody wants to catch that one. And for me, out of all the tough enough contestants, I don't know if any of you guys watched the show, but she's definitely the most experienced, male or female, just because she sort of mentioned this in her interview with Josh Matthews that she sort of was this athlete growing up and she wrestled with Lance Storm, so that's a big plus. And I think we sort of saw this coming just because she did work that one night only pay-per-view Explosion and had a dark match last week. So of course this is sort of big news for me. I think the Knockouts division is definitely looking great. Right now, we're just looking at Gale and Madison as the only vets, quote unquote, while the rest of the division looks super fresh, and I'm super excited. I just hope that Chelsea doesn't get some wacko sort of name thrown at her. I think Chelsea's just fine, and that she doesn't get lost in the mix with all these new girls coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope they stick with Chelsea Green and don't drop the last name and give her a generic first name like they did with Allison Kay or Cherry Bomb or whatnot. But yeah, it's good. And for all the stories we heard about TNA, to see them not only re-sign a bunch of talent, but to also sign a new talent, that's definitely a bright spot. And you got to question, okay, so what does the Billy Corgan minority ship does that allow for more talents to be signed? Clearly I doubt she's a really expensive talent out there, but still a new talent is a new talent. I've been on record and I've said multiple times I used to never enjoy or like or even respect women's wrestling. However, when I started watching TNA and this Knockouts division came on, I became a fan of the Knockouts, of this Knockouts division. I gained a lot of respect for women's wrestling. The Knockouts division over the past 2 or 3 years has absolutely plummeted. And I've said they've basically became the divas. It wasn't good anymore. 2016, the Knockouts are back. The Knockouts division is extremely respectable again. The Knockouts division may actually be overall the brightest and deepest and best talent on the Impact roster now. There's a lot of very good female wrestlers, and we've got great female valets. From what I understand, Raquel is even improving in the ring each time out to where she actually may turn out to be all right. So, I mean, it's a great time for the Knockouts in 2016. I can officially say, in my opinion, the Knockouts are back, and there's a very bright future ahead for the Knockouts. So thank you to TNA for reviving the Knockouts division. The only thing for me is like, okay, we've got our Knockouts. It's back to where it is. Our tag teams and our X division just need it desperately now. And, you know, if a top-notch talent like, say, a Natalia from WWE, who's rumored to not be re-signing with WWE, if she were to come around, I mean, absolutely pull the trigger. But it's time to fix the X division and the tag teams now, TNA. But definitely a great job with the Knockouts this year. So we got better, or I mean, not better, but more great news today itself. Former X Division champion Trevor Lee and another former multiple-time X Division champion, Rockstar Spud, both re-signed with TNA today, June 22nd. Griggs, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm glad they got re-signed. Spud, he's great in any role. If you guys remember from the show last night, Spud really awoke that crowd at the Impact Zone. He could really draw the heat, and I think people need to take notes at him. I mean, he knows how to get the crowd involved and be the heel. If he needs to be the heel, or be the good guy if he has to be the good guy. But in this role, currently being the heel, man, he's really stepping up a notch. And definitely Trevor Lee. He showed a lot during his title reign. He didn't really get that much in-ring time, unfortunately, under the Helms Dynasty thing that was going on. But I think he has a lot more to offer. His in-ring ability speaks for itself.
Absolutely. We already thought we were talking about DJZ, so we need more of these X Division stars. So I'm glad that TNA are still able to keep them. They're both former X Division champions, and as Greg's mentioned earlier, we have Dustin Nix and X coming up. So it's good to see that these guys are still going to have that performance, and sort of try to be rebuilding the division in the same way that the Knockouts division is sort of looking at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Rockstar Spud, in my opinion, there's a big handful of guys on the Impact roster that I say are extremely underutilized and being poorly used right now. And Rockstar Spud is definitely on that short list of the better talents being used poorly. Spud is fantastic in any single role that he gets put in. The guy, he's underused. He's a complete asset in every aspect. He's hilarious. He's a great heel. He's a much better heel than a face. I'll just be honest. When he was with EC3, I honest to God, the way that I looked at the guy, and I know I'm not alone in this because I know my buddy the Count, he feels kind of similar, but Spud was literally, he could have been like the best heel wrestling manager in ages. I've said this a lot. He had the body of Jimmy, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, that kind of little runt physique, but the guy had the wit and just the humor and the comedy skills that Bobby the Brain Heenan did. And if you know anything about me, that is the best compliment I could ever give anyone, because Bobby the Brain is the man, in my opinion, and will never, ever, ever be duplicated. So he and Spud is good as a wrestler. Him and EC3 together were just brilliant. And, Spud, it's just give the guy more TV time. Let the guy go out there and just do something. I said I think like him and Tyrus, I think Spud deserves better than Tyrus, but like they're one of the more credible teams right now in TNA. Utilize that. So I'm glad Spud is back. I hope they have something decent for him. Trevor Lee is a great talent that I think needs to be given the opportunity to show why he is so great. Trevor Lee has much better matches than he does, or on the indies, than he really normally gets to show in TNA. And that's the thing that I said about, Al Snow and even Greg Helms that kind of make me worry with these agents. But, Trevor Lee's fantastic. His X Division title reign, as happy as I was about it, was really lackluster, but I don't think that is on him. I think it's booking, use of putting it on the screen, and Greg Helms always talking, but I think him and Andrew Everett, if not only are they fantastic X Division guys, but put them as a tag team. I mean, tell me them against the Wolves aren't great. Tell me that those two as a tag team don't come in and, face or heel. They're not the second best team right now without the Wolves. I mean, DK and then those two. So I'm glad the Carolina Caveman's sticking around. Great re-signings, TNA. Now we talk about two former X Division champions to a former TNA star who should have been X Division champion. Roderick Strong finishes up with Ring of Honor on Friday. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Roddy in TNA, but he did have a shorter stint back in, the earlier years. I want to say like 2006 was the last time he was in TNA, but him and A-Double, Austin Aries, were, they teamed up. They had they had some matches together. He was kind of more associated with Aries than anything. Now, Roderick is done on Friday. Of course, we know the evil monster out there known as WWE NXT, who's selling cruiserweights dreams and nabbing everyone up. Numero, is Roderick Strong a guy you feel TNA needs to push hard to get?
I absolutely, he's a fresh talent, that would be a great pickup. I'm just not going to get my hopes up, to be honest, just because I don't want to be disappointed when, he does, find his way to the other side. And, I'm not going to, dismiss the idea of it. I'm just going to try to be realistic. And I think he's probably going to be, NXT bound at the moment with the way things are going.
Yeah, I think it's definitely he'll be a good talent to go after, especially with the losing of Austin Aries earlier this year. So we don't have that much X Division talent on the roster. So any additional talent would be greatly appreciated to the X Division. I think he definitely could make an impact into the roster, and I think there's a place for him. Hopefully TNA goes over and gives them a good offer. Because WWE, we all know, they'll take anyone they can just to stick it to the other promotions. So let's hope that TNA goes after him. He's a good guy, and I think a lot of people are rooting for him to join the TNA roster.
Yeah, Roderick Strong's a guy that he'll get the knack because I guess he's a little vanilla or bland as a talker. But he's also improved, in my opinion. He legitimately, like, you look at the guy and you see babyface, because literally he has a baby face. He's very clean cut. Everything about the guy looks like a face. He's a master of the backbreaker. He's a fantastic wrestler. I don't think getting Roderick Strong by any means puts one extra single ass in the seat. But what I do feel puts asses in the seat is the X Division itself. And I think he legitimately is one guy that if you have him and Eddie and Davey in there wrestling, bring a lot of legitimacy to the X Division. You have some great matches. I am not going to get my hopes up because the rumors are him and Moose both will be WWE bound, but I hope to God TNA does the right thing and pushes hard for this guy. He's also a man on Cody Rhodes' list. Could help TNA get Cody Rhodes. So there's a lot of benefit to Roderick Strong. I think he's a guy that TNA should have targeted and signed 2 years ago when him and Mike Bennett were both available. So, guys, we talk about the X Division here, and we had a show last night, and the big news is that the X Division title changed hands to Mike Bucking Bennett. I'm going to go ahead and let Griggs start and talk here because I'm a little heated at the moment, and I'm going to take some time to settle down.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was a decent match. It wasn't. I mean, if you consider it an X Division match. I mean, both guys were about the same size anyway, so I guess you consider it an X Division match. I mean, if anything, if it brings up Eddie Edwards into the main event picture, I'm good. I'm okay with it. If we start seeing the push between Mike Bennett and Eddie Edwards, if it elevates Eddie Edwards in the single competition, that'd be great. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the belt changed hands. It wasn't too long ago that it switched from Trevor Lee to Eddie Edwards. That's my only gripe about it that the belt switched so quick, and I know it's for the option C that comes around for Destination X, but hopefully Eddie Edwards gets a rematch. Hopefully he has the rematch clause that is basically in everyone's contract, and Eddie Edwards gets his revenge.
I didn't like the way it sort of came about with Dixie, Maria, Mike Bennett all in the ring, and just how they sort of, Dixie, you take the night off, and then Mike is still going to call the shots, and just sort of the way he sort of played out how the X Division is just a way to get up to the ladder, into the main event scene. I just want to see sort of everybody to drop the option C gimmick. I think it only worked the first couple of times. But, I guess this is what we get, so we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, without Austin Aries, I don't even know why option C is still here. I mean, wasn't he the one who created it? So at this point, I know it's it's a thing of the past. I would say skip it too, but just something TNA wants to touch base, I guess, with again.
Yeah, it was a double that created option C. As I said earlier, I am all for Mike Bennett becoming the world champ. Mike Bennett could have beaten Bobby Lashley tonight and took the belt, or last night and took the belt tonight. I mean, I would have had a small problem with it, but this was different. And Mike Bennett said, "Oh, the people at home are going to cry and say he's not an X Division wrestler." Well, you're damn right. I'm going to do that. He is not an X Division wrestler. Literally nothing about Mike Bennett screams X Division at all. And that's what bothers me. The X Division is about, no limits. It's a style thing, although, it's kind of hard to define it and whatnot. But literally, there's nothing X Division about Bennett. Basically, the way I look at this is that it buried Eddie and it buried the entire division and it buried that belt because essentially Mike Bennett is a guy that says, hey, you know what? Whenever I want to take the X Division title, I can just go beat one of these little fucking small guys and take this meaningless belt and toss it out so I can get a shot at the world title. And he just went out and he did that. Him and Eddie had a very good match, as expected. But, basically he goes out, he wins the belt. Literally nothing about Bennett is X Division. So, I mean, now we're back to a point, kind of like with Abyss when he was the champ, that it's just kind of like, well, what does the X Division even mean now? Because now the X Division is basically, it's no different than a King of the Mountain title. It's just, anyone can fucking have it. And that's kind of what bothers me. And so, we do all this build up for Eddie to get that belt. And then in 2 weeks, it's gone. It's off of him. So Bennett can get over. And so, the X Division it made the division look weak. It makes that belt look meaningless because literally Bennett is just getting it to fucking throw it away. And, it took all that steam away from Eddie Edwards, who's a guy, him and Davey should be getting pushes to the fucking moon right now. Griggs, you talk about it could elevate Eddie Edwards, but really he's going to have to just, I don't know. I mean, he would have to beat Bennett and then what from there? I don't know. I guess it's to be determined, but that's the problems I have with it. But, congrats to Mike Bennett. He's a great guy. I'm glad he's, getting that push. He deserves it, but I'm disappointed for Eddie Edwards a lot. So we go to the start of the show actually now as we get the big news out of the way. So we get to start with Drew Galloway and EC3. Galloway, EC3 gives a sincere apology, which is kind of not the EC3 we got at the start of the year, but he gives a sincere apology. And Galloway says he feels EC3 did it on purpose, which, obviously we know where it went to there. Lashley interrupts. We get a tag team match set up on the spot. You guys, for one, do you think Galloway is turning heel or it's hinting towards that? And what do you think of this whole setup and all the stuff going on with these three?
I think they're trying to hint at it at least to that point. I mean, it looks like Galloway's just pissed off. He lost his opportunity to get the title back. He's blaming it on EC3. He's saying it's not he's saying it's EC3's fault, not his own. But in the end, I mean, I would say they're both to blame.
Yeah, and I think we sort of been kind of frustrated with the way Drew kind of comes off as a character. We always say he's too one noted, so maybe a heel turn will do him favors. And when you try to compare Drew as a babyface compared to EC3, it's like night and day. EC3 is always going to come out on top. He just has the power, the charisma, and the crowd behind him. Unlike not in the same magnitude as Drew has. So I do see the reason to sort of hint these sort of bits for a heel turn. But
Yeah,
I
I
did
think.
like the sort of opening, intro that they said, we have our opportunities in TNA, unlike elsewhere. So, I really appreciated that sort of bit at the start of the show.
Yeah, I think it's definitely leading to a Galloway heel turn, which I think needs to be done. Galloway's world title run was a lot better than I ever expected it to be, and he really grew on me. But like Drew Galloway's always been a better heel, and if he can do some of the stuff he channels on the indie circuit, it's going to work well. Basically, you kind of have the three top dogs in the company here in an angle, and that's definitely good, especially when you're a TV company. And let's not forget Jeff Hardy's out there for whatever comes next in the future. But the one thing I thought was weird was, Lashley comes out and he interrupts, and we get this tag team match set up. But it's just kind of like, I understand it's pro wrestling and logic's not the strong, the strong suit of really anything in this entire industry throughout the years. But it just seemed like Lashley was kind of way too happy to put his belt up against literally the two top dogs in the company, to set up, hey, who gets a title shot? And then it's kind of weird, like, oh, hey, and then here's my partner. But if we win, my buddy here, this guy that I'm going to handpick because, does it say like, hey, if I have to wrestle Eli Drake, I'll kick the shit out of him real quick and real simple. So it was just kind of weird. I mean, I get it. I'm just kind of over analyzing pro wrestling and just really how dumb is it overall. But it was just kind of weird to me. I don't know if you guys kind of thought the same. Guess not, but
No, I mean, I don't know. It was. I mean, I liked the segment. I mean, I thought that. I mean, he did say he talked to TNA management in the back, and they gave him the power to pick set up this tag match, so it at least had some type of storyline going for it. But I mean, I didn't really find any faults with it.
and I mean, look, the segment was really good, and Lashley, let's definitely give the guy credit for look at the improvement he's done as a talker and as a character, and really, I mean, Lashley's a total package now. So, and who's gonna knock that, right? And I'm happy to see Eli Drake get the big push, and they're starting to actually give this guy some, the ball's getting in his court, and they're gonna make a star out of a guy that should be a star. So that's good. And the thing that I liked the most about this is they gave this tag team match the time it needed to have a good tag team match, and that was really the theme with most of tonight's Impact, which bravo TNA finally. But I really enjoyed the match. Numero, what'd you think of it?
I did too. I was sort of surprised to see Eli Drake thrown up there just because, he is sort of borderline with the King of the Mountain title. So I think he did get some of that, I guess main event rub. I sort of was expecting him to sort of eat the pin, which is sort of the reason why they kind of set up the tag team match the way they did. I think it served its purpose, but I really liked the match. And, so again, the little bit of tension between EC3 and Drew towards the end of the match.
Yeah, man, I thought it was a great match. The only gripe I have, and I totally could be missing this, is I don't think he was the right person that was tagged in. I think the wrong man got pinned. I don't think the person that actually took the 3 count was the actual person that was legal in the ring. But
Weren't
that's
we
just my
just talking
gripe.
about logic in this segment?
Yeah, but yeah, that was my only gripe.
Yeah, it was a very good match, very good tag team match, and it's good to see the good matches on Impact again. We saw Galloway push EC3 into taking that spear. The guy we expected to eat the pin, ate the pin. So, we move on there. You saw Lashley kind of be the bit of a jackass, the cocky asshole when he confronted both of them in the back. But we move on, and interesting world title picture coming up in gotta say, can't really think of three guys to be in that title picture that are better other than James Storm. Hint, hint, TNA. So we see Rosemary talking to the Decay, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but she's talking to both Steve and to Abyss, and she says, "When have we ever led you wrong?" Um, did anyone else catch that part? Like, am I just kind of tripping out, or over listening things? Because I mean, she was basically acting like she talks to Steve and Abyss like there's another person involved with her.
Yeah, it definitely seems that's what she was hinting at. I mean, it sounds like, when you're saying we, there's someone else in Decay that we're not aware of.
Yeah, we sort of saw that earlier in the year with Jimmy Havoc over at the UK bed. I guess she did have, another card up her sleeve.
Who do you guys want to see? If there was, let's say perhaps that there isn't another. Let's say there is another person there with her. Who would you guys want to see it be? You have any names? And let's say it's not Bram.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it has to be someone that's outside of the roster. Maybe our very own TNA Dude.
See, I was thinking Raven Effect was supposed to be their Harvey character, so fuck TNA Dude. Brother underscore.
He didn't call in though.
Actually, yeah, I know what asshole that didn't answer the phone.
No, I was gonna say I think it's definitely TNA Dude as well. I guess we haven't heard from him yet, so maybe he's still working his calls with his sister at the moment.
Well, if Raven would just answer the phone for him, but there's some.
I promise you guys, he didn't answer. I'm not lying to you guys. You'll see the proof on the call when we listen back to the show. But I hope it's James Storm. To be honest with you guys, I loved James Storm's character work last year. And his kind of, I guess, like the new version of Raven or whatnot. But I want to see it be James Storm behind it. James Storm, he's been this manipulative character this whole time, and you see Bobby Roode leaves the company because of what DK does to him. Abyss was part of the revolution. What if Rosemary was brought in? Storm was still in Abyss's ear or whatnot, and a new thing. I just want to see it be James Storm if they are going to bring someone else in. I mean, maybe Grado fits the role perfectly, but there you go.
Let's hope not. But James Storm's definitely. That would be definitely a turn that I wouldn't be expecting. I thought his heel work in the Revolution was great. It got a little old at the end there, but he's definitely a great heel.
Yeah, I think maybe Koya made it old, but
yeah.
I was just gonna say, didn't the Decay beat James Storms and Bobby Roode for the tag team title? So I would just sort of wonder how they would have sort of explained that sort of bit if it was Storm to sort of come in.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it happens in wrestling a lot where it's like, oh, this guy got the shit beat out of him, but he wasn't the one that hit the barbed wire or whatnot. But I mean, stupid stuff. But yeah, you're right. It was just, I don't know. I'm sure James Storm can make it work. But so, guys, Bram recruited by the DK and turned it down and then eats a beat down. I mean, we know Raven Effect was supposed to be their real Harvey, but do you think they're trying to recruit Bram to be the Harvey Danger, or not Harvey Danger, but whatever the hell Two-Face's name is? Sorry, I'm not a comic book nerd, guys, but Harvey Dent. You think Bram would be a good fit for this? Does he fit DK in your opinion, Numero?
Well, I guess, he is sort of that deranged kind of character that Rosemary was talking about. And, we know Abyss would say, it's got to be somebody beautiful as well. So when I think of beautiful and deranged, I think of Winter. But, we saw it wasn't that. But I think Bram definitely, he brings something to the table. I sort of like the whole in-ring interaction of how Rosemary, spoke about partners who betrayed him. And, I sort of think of Eric Young and Magnus. So I think there's building blocks to it. And, Rosemary, sort of is just gold on everything she does. So I think they're all building blocks and there's potential to sort of carry this storyline.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to see Bram with a Decay. I mean, I think he's better on his own. And I think we just haven't seen enough of Bram yet on his own to really, make a solid opinion on him. I mean, he was in the a little bit of the title picture for the King of the Mountain title. I think he was in a tag team once. I just think we need to see more of him in a more adamant role, and I think Bram will really definitely break out. He's definitely one of the top guys in TNA, and it's just a matter of time with stuff on his own. I think he's really going to be a star.
Yeah, I think with Bram, I mean, he fits in a way with the DK, but then in another way he doesn't fit with them at all. So I mean, I'm in the middle. I think Bram is a guy that, like you said, Griggs, Bram's a fucking star, and he's ready to break out. And FK9 had brought up the rematch clause and stuff like that, like how Jade didn't get a rematch clause. Well, neither did Bram. So it's a little odd to me, in my opinion. It kind of sucks to see Bram go away from the King of the Mountain, because I think he deserves that singles push, and he's a guy that they can really make a star. But I got the DK needs some fucking competition and some competitors, guys. And if it's gonna lead to a good angle with Bram for a while, then so be it. I would love to see Magnus come back and be Bram's partner, but yeah, you listen to that
that's not
Russo
gonna
thing.
happen.
Yeah, that Russo podcast. I don't think Magnus really buried TNA that bad, but it's not going to happen. He kind of buried Gaburik and Christy Hemme, but that's how it goes. But moving on from there, it should be interesting stuff. I mean, everything Rosemary does is fantastic. Everything DK has done this year has been fucking gold mine. So I'm sure it's going to turn out good. We'll see what happens this coming Tuesday. So we got Jade versus Marty Bell. We kind of had to cut this segment out last week because we were running low on time. So I'm glad this match took place today. Nero, you're our knockouts guy. What were your thoughts on the match?
I think the ending was, the right finish. I know probably might get some heat for that, but I think just to sort of carry this feud, we need it to not be so one-sided. Jay didn't lose, clean, so we sort of saw that there will be another rematch sort of thing. And I really like the aggression I saw from Jade, and I want to just say that I am a bit disappointed as well that we didn't really get to see the Knockouts champion. Well, in a sense, just because it sort of reminds me of what it was like with Jay when she was champion. I just don't want it to be a title that goes unnoticed, just because I want there to still be some prestige to it. But that's just a different topic in itself. But I am glad to see that we are seeing more knockouts feud. I think it's important to use as many women as you can on a only 1-2 hour show you have when you have so many women on the roster.
Yeah. I don't know. The match for me, I think it was a little too slow pace. I think Jade had to hold her own there with Marty Bell. I think the ending was great, though. I definitely think that Marty Bell going over in the way she did was the right way to do it too, because that should extend the feud between the two of them. Hopefully, down the line in about 2 weeks or so. I don't want to see it next week. I like to progress it a little longer if we can. Build some up behind the scenes stuff and get them going.
What I really liked about it was when Jade came out for this match. Like, Jade wasn't fucking around. She wasn't just walking out there nonchalantly. Like, she is pissed. This bitch took the belt away from her. She's gonna go beat her down, and that's what I liked the most about it. To see that character development. Numero's right. You have the knockouts are fixed. The knockouts may be the strongest overall thing in TNA. So I mean, you gotta try and get them in a little more. It did suck that Sienna hasn't been on for 2 weeks, other than a video excerpt, which we'll kind of briefly discuss later. But I'm glad that the girls that they focused on, it was this match and not Gail Kim, who really doesn't need any more stuff to get over. I think I actually really enjoyed it. Let's not beat around the bush. Like Greg said, Jade has to have her work cut out for her, but Jade carried Marty. She made her look good. It's weird. I actually kind of dated a girl that just, when Marty was walking out, they kind of looked very similar in the face. So, I mean, Marty looked a little bit hotter to me now, but that's off topic, but I'm just saying, guys. But Marty was I'm glad she got the win. I think it's the right person went over. It was a good ending in my opinion, like with the I don't know, police baton or whatever the hell you want to call it. But it was good stuff. It's nice to see Marty get the win. Jade looked strong. Um, Good stuff. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought they were given a good amount of time too. And we talked about that knockout, but we go to the leader of the knockouts. So we continue with this segment, the aftermath of Dixie slapping Maria. Um, so the Bennetts come out. They criticize Dixie Carter. We know what happens with Mike. And Billy Corgan makes it. So Corgan comes out, gets involved in with Dixie. Maria demands this apologize or that Dixie apologized, talks about threatening to sue her, multi-million-dollar lawsuit, yada, yada, yada. Dixie's saying they lost their minds, but Corgan kind of sides with them, tells Dixie to take a week off. Just a lot in this segment. Griggs, what do you think about the segment and how this is going?
I don't know. I mean, I like Dixie on the screen. Corgan, on the other hand, I can't stand him. He just seems so monotone when he's out there. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. But if I think Dixie should have slapped Maria again and said, bitch, I'll take 2 weeks off instead of one. I think that would have been a nice way to get out there.
Griggs, you enjoyed
for me, these sort of Dixie segments are sort of hit and misses with me. I wasn't really feeling Dixie in this segment. I think she did a lot better last week. But I did like the points that Maria did bring up with you can't assault me because when Gail Kim did to it, I was in a match and you're going to do the same or I'm going to sue you. So I think there was definitely some valid points behind it. But I wasn't really behind this whole segment. And then they had the whole Billy Corgan sort of siding with the Bennetts, and it's just sort of left a mushy taste for me just because I feel like this is just going to build up to something more so. And, we kind of talked about it early in the show with the X division. So, I'm still, biting my nails and just seeing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, maybe the scene could have been done better outside the ring, maybe in the back and, have some lawyers around or something like that, saying that they're actually going to threaten the lawsuit, but it's a slap. Come on.
Yeah, or Dixie could have just fired them or something,
Yeah, then there could have been an actual lawsuit for that, but on no grounds.
Griggs, let me get this right. You enjoy Dixie Carter on TV?
I enjoy Dixie Carter on TV. I know. I'm one of the few. I mean, she puts herself on the line every time she's out there. I mean, what boss would put herself through a table? Well, not put herself through the table, but let herself be put through a table. I mean,
she literally broke her back for the company last year, guys.
Yeah, so I give her some credit. I mean, I know she takes a lot of heat, but I mean, there was the time that she was on TV, all the time. I think that time has passed. So,
HeelCast Nation, the Griggers 12 youth movement is now officially over. This is Griggs' last show with the HeelCast, as he will never be heard from again. I'm kidding, Griggs.
Start my Dixie fan club.
There we go. Dixie, Grado, Robbie E. We got them all going. Someone's got to do the Sheriff fan club. But there is literally nothing I want to see more than Dixie Carter on TV all the time, like 2014 was. Because this got cut a while back. But there's this term in pro wrestling that I hate called X-Pac heat. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's basically like a bad guy gets booed, but they say it's not because he's doing a good job as a bad guy. It's because they can't fucking stand him. I think X-Pac is a big name in wrestling history. He was a good wrestler. He was very over. I think it's bullshit. I think Matt Hardy and Dixie Carter are the epitome of this. And so, I mean, Dixie Carter is the definition of go away heat for me, because she just hogged every ounce of screen time back in 2014 when she was on, and I mean, the product went to shit. So I'm afraid of this happening again. The segments are decent. I worry that we're going to get another power struggle between Billy Corgan and Dixie Carter for who's in charge of Impact again. And the second to last thing I want to see on TV again is like a stupid authority figure that comes out and talks and takes a lot of time away from the wrestling. And, like I say in my columns, if they're going to go that route, have it be someone that's at the announce table the whole time. you know, kind of like Nigel McGuinness in ROH. I just put someone who is a good talker. Have the Pope do it, for crying out loud, or someone like that. But I don't want the authority figure, and I don't want a power struggle. I don't want Dixie taking time, but apparently someone likes it. Griggs is down with Dixie Carter.
Not taking the whole
3-minute
time.
wrestling matches, and you know, an hour and 57 minutes of Dixie Carter talking on TV, cutting promos again. But
Hey,
I will say I miss her old theme song, though. I think the one she has right now is pretty generic, that most of them are now.
yeah. Goddamn muted mic. The theme song she had was terrible. It was literally worse than that one she had. I don't know. I could have swore she had it recently, but fuck, that was bad. That was bad.
Hey, doesn't her husband make her theme music? So.
But you know, speaking of surge, I am finding miserable ways to take the word surge and tie it into the surge of energy that went through my wiener when I saw Raquel. I was falling out, guys. So we see Robbie E going through Jesse's bag, and it looks like Raquel and Jesse Goddard's have a secret, or they're being bad, or fooling around or something, and we see Robbie being jealous. Anyone have any thoughts on what may happen here?
I was pretty surprised by this little segment. You know, I think it beats the little fiasco they were trying to do last week with the camera in the locker room, Naga's locker room. But it's interesting just because it sort of brings out Jesse and Raquel, holding out on Robbie. And, maybe this is just a coincidence that it's happening on the same week that, Big Brother's premiering. And we know that's where, Jesse sort of broke out. So I guess, like I said, I'm just keeping that in mind, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're not going for, a love triangle with the three of them. I'm hoping that we get a little swerve there. Maybe Raquel has something going for Robbie E instead of, Jesse Goddard's. Hopefully I don't know. It's not where we're seeing it. I'd rather them have, a feud in the ring rather than, the two of them. But maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they'll break up, over Raquel. So, and then we can see Jesse Goddard do his thing on his own.
Yeah, I don't know. I've talked in my columns too about how, like you always see a tag team, they'll kind of flirt with breaking up, and then, it literally happens every single time. The team says they're going to stay together, and then someone turns on the other, and it's so predictable. And, I have no problem with this if they actually do a swerve where you think the bromans are going to break up, but they stick together. I don't know. Yeah, clearly they're making it seem like Robbie really wants Raquel, and she sounds like she's probably screwing around with Jesse. Maybe it's going to turn out and be like some stupid joking bromance type of corny, clowny surprise, and they were never fooling around or anything like that. I don't know, but I mean, can they afford to break this fucking team up right now? They have like no tag teams. Can they really afford to break them up? And they're just going to have the bromance feud again? I mean, I don't want to see this again. We're going to have Robbie be the heel and Jesse be the face. I mean, no, just no. Bore me to death. No, I don't want to see that. But yeah, it does seem like it has to do with the Big Brother After Dark stuff. That's what they talked last week. But, moving on, I guess we'll see what happens. A bright spot. We got some Rockstar Spud TV time. So we got an impromptu match again. Braxton Sutter against Rockstar Spud. Rockstar Spud was out to face Lince Dorado under the mask of Balaam or something. I know Griggs was a big fan of this, and he described it, and Lince Dorado actually liked Griggs' description of it. So Griggs, I'm going to let you talk about your man Balaam real fast.
Oh yeah, I thought he looked like the Dollar General version of Halloween costumes for Darth Vader this year. I don't know what the hell TNA was thinking about having some guy in a costume like that be out there in 2016, but I was glad to see Rockstar Spud come out there and kick him in the ass and tell him to get out and go collect his $50.
Grace, did you see that Lince Dorado actually gave that tweet a like? That
No,
you said,
no, I
yeah.
didn't. I wouldn't even know that was him. I'm sorry.
I had a tweet and it said Lince Dorado liked a tweet you were mentioning, and I figured it was the one that I said when I told you that's who it was, and it wasn't that. It was the one you describing what you felt his Dollar General Darth Vader costume looked
That's
like.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know. That was I didn't want to see that on TV. I didn't know what the hell was going on there when I saw him already in the ring standing there.
It's weird that they keep doing this impromptu matches with Sutter. I don't know that there's much of a plan. What I do hope is that Lince Dorado has a future in TNA, and Lince Dorado's an X Division guy. He's been on a couple of and I don't know if it's a couple. I know he's been on at least one of the extravaganza shows. I do know he's working this stupid cruiserweight tournament, but it's just TNA needs X Division guys. He's a pretty talented dude. This Ballum character worked 2 matches on these past tapings. But it's good to see Rockstar Spud getting TV time. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Spud lost some teeth during this altercation in this match. But we see Sutter go over Spud, and this is the stuff we're talking about. It's just Rockstar Spud's they're taking this character nowhere. He's just kind of jobbing out to whoever, putting people over. But Spud kicks Sutter in the balls afterwards, kind of beats him down a little bit and leaves. I don't know if there's anything else, Griggs, you want to add to this at all?
Just I said this before that Spud definitely gets the crowd going. He knows how to draw heat. I mean, in that segment, he spit on him. He had whipped him with his belt. He was the ultimate heel in that match. He definitely, I think, put over Braxton Sutters. It was definitely a good. I don't know. I thought it was a decent match for both of them, and I think I like the way Rockstar Spud handled himself there, and treated him like crap. Just to didn't let the new guy get over.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And Spud's one of the best characters in the entire company. I mean, the guy just has a crowd in the palm of his hand at all times, and that's something that TNA needs to keep in mind. It's something that TNA need. Thankfully they re-signed him, but it's someone that they need to give more time and treat better, because he's a guy that really helps the company out in a lot of ways. So we took it from there, and then we got our Knockouts champion Sienna. She got a little bit of a video package. She talked about a little bit of her wrestling history, her multi-MMA training. She kind of talked some shit about Gail and the Knockouts and whatnot, probably leading up to a Gail versus Sienna thing. But I just, the only thing I really have to say is put her on TV. She's the champ. But can she not come out with Maria? Her and Allie can't. But it just seemed like it was kind of these kind of video excerpts. It kind of seems like it's only going to make her more of a face than a heel. But that's all I really have to say on this topic. Numero, was there anything you wanted to get in? I know you're the Knockouts expertise here.
Sort of just touching base on what I said earlier about the Knockouts champion, being off screen. It's just not, doesn't look good, especially when you have Sienna, who debuted, I don't know, maybe just a month ago. I think we need to learn more about her. I do like that they're playing on this bigger, faster, stronger persona that they keep applying. I just want her to have something to sink her teeth into. Give her a run with Madison. Madison is still one of those seasoned vets, and she can definitely still put on great matches. Just get the champion back on TV.
Griggs, you got any thoughts on the video package there that was done for Madison? Or I'm sorry, Sienna?
I think it was well put together. I think it was needed too. I think it was last week. Josh Matthews says that on the air that he knew nothing about her. So I think it was something that the fans needed to know more about her. The people that don't follow the indies, and I think it was just something we needed. And I think it was very well put together. I mean, just like any other TNA package that they put out on the air, they always are well put out. And this one, I think. Basically described that she was, an ass kicking machine. The female ass kicking machine. Other than EC3 being the ass kicking machine. But yeah, she's definitely. I think she's a great knockout, and I think that she's going to be the one of the future of the knockouts division. She can definitely give it with go hand in hand with Gail or Jade to be the new leader of the the knockouts once Gail passes with TNA.
Now, Griggs, you said that you feel that these videos are well put out. I just want to remind everyone that 65 years ago, plus 9 months, to this day, Wake the Snake Stamina Chamber's mother, well put out for everyone's mother's favorite wrestler, Al Snow. And we know where we're at right now. Wake is still awaiting child support. But moving on, happy birthday again, Wake. Al, I hope you got Wake a good gift for your poor child here you've neglected. So we move on to the neglected, broken one, Matt Hardy and the 6 sides of steel. Jeff Hardy versus Matt Hardy, 6 sides of steel with the crazy-ass Jeff Hardy taking another insane bump. Jeff goes over and gets the pin on Matt Hardy again. Doing better than WWE, Jeff is getting all the wins, whereas Matt would always get a few there. Griggs, what'd you think about the main event here?
Oh, I think the main event delivered. I mean, as many people are a fan of Matt Hardy's new gimmick, I think it's great. I mean, he's definitely changing things up. I'm not a Matt Hardy fan, don't get me wrong, but I think it's nice to see that them thinking outside the box. It's getting a lot of attention, so that's a good thing for TNA's part. Hopefully, hopefully more viewers see it. Jeff Hardy, the man, puts his body on the line. Anytime he's out there, he's always doing these crazy bumps. And this match definitely delivered, I think.
I think what you guys were basically saying, this is just typical, Hardy style. I can honestly say I've never seen a spot like this before. The ending with 2 table crushes, but I just don't know where can they still keep going with this feud. Matt Hardy's already broken. He's lost, maybe I think this is his second loss to his brother. I just don't know how they can keep, giving these guys these kind of matches, especially when they're on TV. They're not even on pay-per-view. You know what I mean? These are pretty high, risk maneuvers. So I'm just curious to see how long they can still keep these matches fresh. Aside from, this whole who's a better Hardy and what kind of revenge we're going to get at you next.
Yeah, unless they end it with like a loser leaves, TNA or something like that, and then the person's off the show for a bit. But yeah, I don't know where else they're going to go with this either.
I mean, if you remember, what was it? Was it Matt Hardy that said like he wants to wrestle Jeff and the loser can't have the Hardy name? I mean, maybe it's loser leave town, maybe it's you can't have the Hardy name, maybe one of them becomes Willow. I don't know. I feel like I hope this is the end myself, because like this was a feud I've already seen twice before in the WWE. Granted, I'm not just saying this because it's TNA, but the way TNA has done it has been better than the feuds that were in the WWE. Jeff Hardy, we talk about him being awesome. I love Jeff Hardy to death. I have always been a huge fan of this guy. Just like I said, the Sports Illustrated stuff, it bothers me that he said that. But, I mean, this guy is killing his body for TNA when he could make a lot more money elsewhere, and he's still doing it. And, the guy he used 2 tables. He put Matt on a table, put the other one in there, and then he put a bunch of chairs in between there too. How it's going to come off on TV, it's going to be because it's going to hurt Matt that much more. Honestly, it probably was done more of a precautionary, thing for his brother with the wood breaking and stuff like that could come around. Kind of a painful cushion there, but, a very safe thing. And then he climbs this fucking ladder, which was kind of irrelevant because, he didn't go a lot higher than the cage, but does a splash off of there and just, he gets. I like the pin that Matt Hardy did, or Jeff Hardy did. Like he jumps on there, gets the pin with authority. It was definitely a good match. The main event delivered, and if I could say one thing that I really, really, really loved about this episode of Impact was that they finally gave the wrestlers enough time to go in the ring, to have a good match, to tell a bit of a story in most of these matches, and go show that TNA wrestling is good wrestling. And that was the bright spot of this Impact for me. It was a fucking really good episode in my opinion. Numero, did you like this episode a lot, or was it ho hum,
Yeah,
or
I
where we at?
absolutely did. And I think you sort of, took the words from me. I think every match sort of, had their time given. I guess, like I said, for me, there's just one bit that court sort of, I wasn't too crazy about was with the whole Bennett's bed. Match wise, I'm glad that there was a lot to, go about with.
Yeah, I think I said this online. I said that the show, I thought, was one of the best that they had. I think from top to bottom, I think it was good. It was well put together. I think they gave enough time for each of the matches and each of the talk segments. I I think that it was altogether it was a great show. So I'm glad that it transpired well on air, and it's sad that the viewership wasn't up this week. But I mean, it was up from that 70 show incident, but it's sad that it wasn't higher than it actually was.
Yeah, like the thing, and this is one thing that I wanted to bring up, is that not only I was kind of negative on the spoilers when I read them, and but the thing is, I'll always say with the spoilers, like, you can never really tell one way or another. Sometimes they sound awful and they turn out good. Sometimes they sound great and turn out bad, aka the GFW stuff. But guys, TNA, it seems like 2014, since the Skip Burek regime took over, the first half of 2014 was terrible. The second half of 2014, after Slammiversary, good. I felt last year with Destination America, January through Slammiversary, was good. Everything after that was terrible. So far, I feel 2016 has been a rebound year, to say the least. A very great year so far after a great start, and the two shows after Slammiversary have been great as well, in my opinion. So hopefully TNA has completely turned that corner. They can relax, take a breather, and hit this 5-year plan. I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to say tonight. Numero, Griggs, anything on your guys' mind you want to get out about TNA?
Just keep watching and keep listening to the podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, likewise. Hey, surprise us more with some more signings. Maybe or re-signings. Maybe Mandrews would really be good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a guy I want to see them get in the ring myself. I think he's extremely underutilized. Him, Davey, Eddie, Andrew Everett, Rockstar Spud, those are the most underutilized guys on the roster, and Aiden O'Shea. Griggers. Griggs. I'm too old for this shit, man. Griggs, I told you we're talking ass play tonight. I'm putting you on the spot. You need to hit HeelCast Nation with the sound off question for the week. Told you guys this was the end of Griggs. This is his last show. He's failing.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. What are your thoughts on Mike Bennett becoming an X Division champion? That's the sound off question of the week, guys. Let us know your thoughts.
That's right, HeelCast Nation. Sound off on TNAasylum.net, on Twitter, on YouTube. How do you feel about Mike Bennett becoming the X Division champion? You think it diminishes the X Division, etc., the stuff we talked about? Let us know this time around. Thanks for checking in. HeelCast out.
Hey, guys, we ready? It's the 25th anniversary show. Let's do this thing. Guys? Anybody?